One of the questions that we get quite often is how can I put a checkbox into a Google Doc? So a lot of us are familiar with maybe a PDF fillable form or a Microsoft Word fillable form, and we're used to that idea where you can embed a check mark into the text, and when you click on it, it marks it off as being done. Google Docs does not have a direct substitution for that type of tool. However, there are a couple things that we can do that kind of simulate that type of a fillable form situation. So here's an example, and I'm going to kind of focus on this section right here. And this particular one is kind of a meeting agenda, but let's say I want to check off these items here as we go along. So let me show you one option. If we move up here to the bullet option, we notice there are different types of bullets that we could use. One of them is sort of a checkbox looking item. Now this is a solution that we could use. However, it's not checkable, especially not digitally. So if you're going to print this off, this might be a good solution for you. Probably one of the fastest solutions actually. However, if you want to keep it digital, which is a lot of times that's our motivation for using Google Docs, is because it does work so well in the cloud and it's so shareable. So what do we do if we want this to work digitally? So one of the things that we often suggest is to insert a table. So instead of just putting the text out like this, so right here we've got a header, we've got a checkbox, another header, and two checkboxes. So that's 5 lines of text. So I'm going to move up here to the top to the table menu, and I'm going to move here, and I'm going to make sure that it's 5 rows long. And then for this particular case, I really just need 2 columns. I need my checkbox column, and I need my text column. So I'm going to have a 2x5 table that I'm going to insert. And there it is right there. Now what we want to do is we kind of want to make this text fit into this form. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this divider over and kind of give me my checkbox section. Now if you look here, the checkbox really is only applicable on that second line right here and the 4th and 5th lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually merge these 2 cells. So you can see I just click and drag, right click, and click merge cells. And then I'm going to come down to the text that I want to go in there, copy, and paste. And sometimes it brings over a little extra formatting. This particular one right here has an extra space before the paragraph. I'm going to remove that. Then I'm going to copy my text that I want to have the checkbox, paste that in. This one you can see again brought in the check mark. I'm going to remove that because we're going to make that work a little bit differently. I'm going to bring in the text here, and remember, merge, right click, move down to merge cells, paste it in, remove some of that extra formatting that comes with it. Depending on your text, you might not need to do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to paste that in. Oops, that brought with it some extra formatting. There we go. Remove the bullet. And the last one, paste that in and remove that bullet as well. Now at this point we're getting pretty close. I'm going to go through and remove some of this formatting too. So this one happened to bring in some extra formatting there. Now at this point we've got our table, and this might be good enough for what you're looking for. This might be a solution. Now I can delete this, and now that becomes the section of the notes where we could apply a check mark. So in this space, as we complete this, we could come through and check it off and go on from there. Now that might be good enough for you, or you might be looking for something a little bit different looking. So I'm going to show you one option that we do quite a bit to kind of clean up the look of the document. So if you right click on the table, you'll find there is a table properties section down here. When you click on that, you'll get to control some of what this looks like. So one of the things that we often like to do is we like to take away the borders. So there's one of the best ways to do that is to just make the borders white and remove those. So that cleans up the look a little bit, but you'll notice now, ideally we'd want these to show up somehow. So if I click on just that cell and go back to table properties, I can change the background of just that cell. I'm going to do that with both of these cells as well. Table properties, change the background, and click OK. Now you can see we're getting a little bit closer, but it's kind of hard to see the difference between those two. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to highlight the whole table again, come back into table properties, and I'm going to change the weight of the border. So remember, even though we can't see the border, it's still there. It's just white. So we're going to change the weight. I'm going to go to 3 points, and we'll see how that looks. And if you click off there, you can kind of see we're getting a little bit closer to what we're going for here. I think we could go even a little bit thicker. So I'm going to go to 4.5, and then I am also going to adjust the alignment. So right now, all of the alignment is at the top of the cell. I'm going to put it in the middle. And then I'm also going to remove this cell padding over here. I'm going to make that 0, which is just going to keep the text a little closer to the edge, a little closer to the borders. So I'm going to click OK. We'll move back here and kind of see what we've got. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. And that's getting closer to what I'm thinking of, because now if I come in here and I apply an X, you can see now, in fact, we could even take this whole section here and center it. Do that with these two as well. And if you do this ahead of time, we can now come in and I want to say that we've completed that. You go ahead and just put an X in there. Be consistent about your capitals and so on. And then you can move on to the next section of your document. Now this is one option that you could use to do this. So I kind of want to briefly go over those steps. So we added a table. We had to remove some of the formatting, and then we adjusted our table settings by changing the color of the lines and adding some background. And what that did for us is it gave us this fillable form type solution. So if you are really looking to use Google Docs and want to have that fillable form, this is one of the ways you can apply those checkbox ideas to a Google Doc.